Hey there, welcome to the garden. Today we are planting some seeds. So we're about 4 to 6 weeks out from the last frost. So just around the right time to plant some greens. And I'm gonna do a bunch of these in containers, a couple things in the raised bed, but mostly containers for all of these awesome salad greens. So I picked out these varieties particularly for their heat tolerance because even though we've got cool temperatures right now, as soon as we get to that last frost, it starts heating up really quickly. By May, we are into summer temperatures, and it can actually be a little hard for me to grow these cool weather kind of plants in the springtime because it just gets hot so fast. So usually I grow a lot of the kind of lettuces and things like that in the fall garden, but I've got a bunch of heat tolerant varieties here. So we are going to get these started and we'll just see how they do, and hopefully we can get at least a few salad harvests. I'm looking for probably a bunch of baby greens. That's going to be my goal with a lot of these, and growing them in containers for baby greens is just kind of perfect. So I am going to go through with you all of the varieties that I'm starting, and then I will share how I get them started in containers. It is super easy if you want to grow lettuce. I've done a few videos about it on the past, but I always have to share because I just am such a big fan of lettuce in containers. So let's talk about first what I am growing. Okay, so the first green that I'm going to grow in containers is arugula. I absolutely love arugula. It's probably one of my favorite greens to grow. If you are a new gardener and you want something that is super rewarding, like just easy, germinates quickly, you can see things happening quickly, arugula is the way to go. Of all of the things I'm planting today, I know that arugula is going to be the first one up. It is going to be growing, looking beautiful, and it'll do really well in these kind of temperatures right now. So we've got like about 30s, somewhere in the 30s Fahrenheit at night, and then 40s, 50s, 60s during the day. Kind of perfect temperatures for these kind of things. And as I said, we're about 6 weeks out from the last frost, 4 to 6. And this is like lettuce, arugula. Arugula, it says, 6 weeks from last frost is the perfect time to plant it. So we will go ahead and get these started, and basically it's a slow bolt variety of arugula. So hopefully what that will mean is that when it starts to heat up, it's not going to flower as quickly. Once these things start flowering, they're not very good to eat. So hopefully with the slow bolt, it's just a little bit more heat tolerant, and then I can be harvesting it for longer. I am expecting that probably by, I don't know, mid-June, most of these crops will be done, but it will at least give me time to harvest a little bit, and then I'm doing it in containers so I can just easily pop out these greens and put more things in their place in the containers. This is about 40 days to baby greens, so not too bad. Then I have some lettuce, and as I said, these are all heat tolerant lettuces. So ruby red lettuce is the first kind, and it's just really pretty. Since I am growing in the containers, I like to pick things that are a little bit decorative just because it kind of adds some interest in the garden. This is supposed to be one of the deepest, darkest red, and has nice curled, kind of pretty leaves, very heat tolerant, very slow to bolt. So a really good variety for these spring plantings. And as soon as the soil is workable in the spring, you can plant these guys out. And so for me, that's right about now. Then we have a black-seeded Simpson, so another really kind of frilly looking lettuce. And this is also supposed to be able to withstand a lot of hot and dry conditions. So that's nice too. Just, I don't know, in case things dry out a little bit, it can handle that a little bit better. And baby greens can be harvested in 3 weeks. So we'll see. Because it's still a little cool and we are still early in the season, I'm not quite sure if it's going to be right at 3 weeks. They might grow just a little bit slower because we aren't really into that full, summer sunlight hours or anything like that. But still, it's nice because they will grow quickly. And then I do have another kind of like pretty, more decorative looking lettuce. This is the bronze mignonette. Gorgeous. Supposed to be kind of more tolerant to the summer temperatures because it's an oak leaf shape. I guess that like allows the the leaves to stay a little cooler, but a really, really pretty lettuce, and it's really heat tolerant than most varieties, and it also has a bunch of vitamins, it says. So vitamin E, K, A, C, potassium, fiber, and iron. So that'll be a good thing to add to salad. Then I have one of my favorite lettuces. This is for Ellenschluss, and it is a romaine type lettuce with really pretty green leaves and little like freckles on it. And the thing about romaine lettuce is that it typically tends to be more heat tolerant. So if you're looking for lettuce and maybe the seed packets don't have as many descriptions on it, or you're just kind of going quickly, if you steer toward romaine type lettuces, they tend to have more heat tolerance. So that's just something to know. So we're gonna try to grow some of this for Ellenschluss, and I love it because it's a great taste, it's really pretty and decorative, and it's just always been super, super consistent for me. Always has good germination, always comes up beautifully, looks great, and just is easy to grow. I've had hard time with like, for example, butterhead lettuce. I've always struggled. Every time I plant butterhead lettuce, it just never germinates well, doesn't grow super happily, it just has issues. So for Ellenschluss is like my tried and true. I just know it's gonna grow well. And then the last lettuce that I'm growing is the New Red Fire, and I just thought this would be really pretty, and it's supposed to be a super quick grower, so baby greens in 21 days, as well as being very heat tolerant, very slow to bolt, and very disease resistant. So all of those things sounded great, and I figured for our, again, warm, hot, humid conditions, we get tons and tons of rain in the spring, that sounded, you know, really nice. If it's got some resistance to powdery mildew and things like that, that would be helpful. So I'm gonna try this. I'll be really curious to see. I did grow a little bit of it in the fall, and it grew really well. Then I'm gonna do, in the raised beds, a little bit of giant noble spinach. I am testing this variety out. I did a video with all my favorite varieties, and Matador spinach is my favorite variety, but I thought I would try this because it is supposed to be a large, tender, not very bitter, really good spinach. Now it is really good for cold weather, so not as much a heat resistant spinach, but we're gonna give it a shot and just stick it in a raised bed. If I can get a little baby green harvest off of it, I'll be happy. And then in my quest to grow cilantro, because cilantro is hard. Cilantro is a really tricky one, especially if you have the kind of heat conditions that I do where things get hot quickly. It can be really hard to grow cilantro because it just wants to bolt really fast. But this is Calypso cilantro, and it is supposed to be the slowest bolt cilantro, making it best for hotter climates. So we are going to try. I've tried a slow bolt cilantro in the past without luck, but this is supposed to be the best, slowest to bolt. So I'm going to give it a shot. And it says to grow in part sun, so that's nice too, because my garden is very much a part sun garden. So I'm going to stick it in kind of like one of my part sun shadier beds, and hopefully that'll also keep it a little bit cooler, and we'll see. I'm trying to grow things in more clumps, and kind of like so I can really get the impact of the beauty of the different plants. All right, so to grow a salad green in a container, it's super easy. All you need is a pot with some potting soil in it. Low pots are totally fine. These greens don't really have super intense root system, so you don't have to worry about like a really super deep container. Just get some nice potting soil. This had a little mulch on it. I just removed the mulch. And then you're just gonna take your seeds. I'll do the arugula first. And because I'm growing this for baby greens, I'm gonna seed it fairly heavy here. So definitely putting in more seeds than I would say if I wanted to get like heads of lettuce. You certainly could grow head lettuce and put like 3 or 4 seeds in this container, but I'm gonna put like a little handful of seeds in the container just so I can get a nice kind of thick, I guess thick container full of the greens, and I just sprinkle it in. With most of these salad greens, you don't need to cover them with a lot of soil, so I will just take the soil and just kind of move it around a little bit, and that will cover the seedlings but not too deep. You don't want to put them so deep that they can't come up. It says about 1/4 of an inch deep on the back of the seed packet, and I find that just kind of moving it around like that, just really gently, and then watering it in is enough to cover the seedlings without covering them too deeply. And then you just keep it well watered, and that's literally all there is to it, and you'll get a nice harvest of greens. They will come up pretty quickly, and then you can just harvest the biggest leaves around the outside as they grow, and they'll continue to grow and grow and grow until, well, until it gets too hot and then they start to flower. But that's it. It's that easy. I'm gonna have to, of course, try to keep the squirrels out of these, but I've been using some Repelzol and repellents to try to keep squirrels out of here. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the rest of the containers, and it's the same process for in the raised beds, just following the instructions on the back of the seed packets, and that's it. All right, so we planted the cilantro in this corner, got it covered with some Repelzol, and I'm just gonna let it hang out there. And everything's planted over here, so hopefully we'll have things sprouting soon. Thank you so much for hanging out in the garden, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.